Good morning. Happy Wednesday. Okay, look, all I can say about my video yesterday is that I searched the word Acolitas on my work computer, and apparently the safe search is on because the only thing that came up was buttocks, okay? And then people started telling me in the comments that it's slang for the Mary Jane. I didn't know. I had no idea, okay? And then when I searched on my phone, guess what? That was the first thing that came up. Yeah. So, and you know what? I don't feel so bad because even Lisa didn't know. Lisa's son lives in Colorado. Nuff said, okay? Nuff said. Let's just say he knows about it, okay? And she didn't know what it was either. It really does mean butt, little tail, okay? It's a slang word for a butt, okay? I didn't know it was a different kind of butt. You know, when I worked at the jail, 2 syllables, jail, the inmate workers would ask me for my butts, cigarette butts, but they called them shawties. Can I have that shawty? Can I have that shawty? Can I have that shawty? I'm like, I don't know what that is, okay? You're the end of your cigarette. Why don't you just say that? Why don't you just call it the butt? Why don't you just say, can I have that when you're done? Why you gotta call it a shorty when I'm 5 foot tall? How am I supposed to know what you're talking about? I don't know. Ugh. Oh, Lord. Anyway, I'll be back. You know, speaking of the jail, I just saw a Saturday Night Live. Take 12. Saturday Night Live skit about Scared Straight. And we used to have them bring kids into the intake area for the Scared Straight program. And every now and then, we'd have some good inmates in there that would really act up for them and start screaming and hollering and banging on the windows. Those are good times. Those little kids, I mean, they weren't little kids, they were high school kids. But their eyes would be like, eyes wide open. That was a good one, wasn't it? I try to always bring a song into it because I have a song in my heart or something like that. Let's see, what else? I was going to tell y'all something else about the jail. The jail. Why do I say it with 2 syllables like that? The jail. Oh, yeah, I was going to tell y'all an interesting story. Or at least I thought it was interesting. This was a long time ago in a land far, far away. We had a prison that was right next door to the jail. Now, if you don't know the difference, you go to prison once you're sentenced. You're in jail pre-sentencing before you go to court, okay? So this was the county work camp prison. It wasn't like big time prison, but it was misdemeanor charges, minor felony charges such as that. So they had a warden and they had all the guards and all that stuff. And then we took over the prison unit and it became just a part of the sheriff's office where we kept inmates. But when it was still the county, what do I call it? The work prison, whatever, work camp. Yeah, that's what it's called. Anyway, when it was still that and they had a warden, they got a new guy, a new guard came to work there who just so happened to be a Navy SEAL and built like a brick house, if you know what I mean. So the warden asked him if he would go undercover and come in as a prisoner and be amongst the prisoners because he said, I think some of my guards are sneaking stuff in or, doing things they're not supposed to do. And so this guy, being a Navy SEAL, he ain't scared of much. And he was like, yeah, I'll do it. And he turned out to be my sergeant. And He's a great guy. But anyway, he became one with the inmates, and he would go to the warden's office and report to him about the things that he saw, and they ended up firing some guards over it because they were sneaking in things they weren't supposed to sneak in and doing things they weren't supposed to do. But anyway, I thought that was an interesting story because I never knew stuff like that actually happened until he told me. But when he became my sergeant, he would try to be, look mean and growl at me like he was some big bad Navy SEAL, and it didn't bother me none. I was like, you don't really scare me, sir. I mean, you could deceased me, and I probably wouldn't see it coming, but come on now. I mean, you're just a big teddy bear now. But he was standing in the doorway, and he had his arm up like this. You know how they just kind of fill up a doorway, and I was trying to go under his arm to go get me some coffee, and I had this brilliant idea, famous last words, that I was going to try to knock his arm off of that doorway, right? I was going to charge him. Did I already tell y'all he was built like a brick house? Yeah. I hit that arm, and it was like monkey bars that I grabbed hold and I just swung under, and I came back, and he just looked down at me like, what are you doing? And I was like, my bad. Just ignore me, okay? And I ducked under and went and got my coffee. Yeah. But like I said, he didn't scare me because he was a big old teddy bear at this time, but he would have scared me back in the day if I didn't know him. If I didn't know how genuinely kind he is. Yeah. But anyway, I thought that was interesting. And then another interesting tidbit about that building. I think I've told this part before, but the old prison building. So they got the old prison that was built in the late 1800s. It's like one of the historical markers or something like that in Cobb County. Then they had this metal building attached to it, and that's where the warden's office was and the commissary. And if you don't know what a commissary is, it's where they keep the goodies for the inmates to buy. So, well, prisoners, they're called prisoners when they're at a prison. Anyway, I always wondered who wrote the Book of Love. I always wondered, when you go in the men's restroom, there was metal grating over the ceiling because it had ceiling tile. And I thought, well, that's odd. I mean, like, why would we have metal grating up here? Well, so I asked the Navy SEAL, who was my sergeant, and he said, oh, well, that's because the inmate workers used to come up here and clean, and one of them got the bright idea to go up in the ceiling because it was just basically ceiling tile, and they climbed all the way across the ceiling and dropped down into the commissary, and they got a bunch of honey buns and things such as that, and then climbed back over and dropped back down in the bathroom, and they had themselves a honey bun party. So they had to cover up the ceiling so nobody could climb up in the ceiling anymore. Ain't that something? The things you learn. But anyway, I did get my car back yesterday from my dad. He called me. It wasn't long after we got home. I was headed back home at 5 o'clock from getting it. And he said, they've already called and said my car's ready. And I was like, well, daggum, sheesh. So he came, got me, and took me over there, and then Penny and I rode back home, and he's got his car back, and his door's fixed, so it'll lock. So yay for that, because I was like, I don't want to be without a car. Even if I don't go anywhere, I don't want to be without a car, because you just feel so imprisoned. This whole thing's about prison, isn't it? Wonder if I could think up some more stories. I mean, there's a lot of stories about the jail, and not a lot of them are appropriate, though, because some people have no shyness, okay? And, yeah. I was working in the control room, and a guy goes into the shower, and he comes back out, and he opens that door, and he's just inside the shower room, and he's got his towel wrapped around his lower part, like men wear theirs, and the deputies couldn't see him because they were back behind the counter, but he was a straight shot from where I was, and he dropped his towel and started dancing for me, and I was like, why? Why? I mean, I know why, because I'm turning 50 shades of red instead of 50 shades of gray, because I wasn't ready, sir. I wasn't ready for that. And I also had them so my little control room that I was in had a cell right here, and there was a window right here. And I was in there talking to one of the deputies, and she started laughing, and I turned around, and the one-eyed Willie was right in my face, and I was like, put that thing up. I mean, he couldn't hear me because it was, like that thick bulletproof glass, but I was like, put it up. And he kept on, and then I did like that, and he put it up. I was like, well, I'm sorry, but I'm trying to work in here, okay? Even though I'm just sitting leaned back in a chair talking, I'm trying to work. I'm trying to keep a level of professional decorum going here, and you got Willie swinging at the back of my head. Ugh. That's a true story. I can't make that stuff up. I wish I could, but all that's just true. Ugh. Anyway, I had really weird dreams last night. I had a dream that a friend of mine's daughter, he brought her to stay with me, and she was wild, and he wanted me to try to control her. And I was like, no, that's not my job, man. No. And I was so worried about her meeting the girls and taking them down the wrong road, and it was a messed up dream, and I just kept thinking, I can't let them meet. And I don't know why he just left her here, but the rest of my dream was just me worried, trying to get rid of her because she was such a bad kid. She's not a bad kid at all, but in my dream she was. I mean, I don't know if she's a bad kid or not. I hadn't seen her since she was a kid, but I don't think she's a bad kid, But anyway, that's enough of this video. I hope y'all enjoyed it. It's all about the jail today. Anyway, remember, I love you. Jesus loves you. We hope he's coming back soon because people are crazy. I'll talk to you on the next one. Toodles.